Hello, it's Austin with The Real Seal. I made this video to help answer the most frequently asked questions when it comes to basement waterproofing and to also point out the most common areas where you're likely to get water into your basement. So let's get started. The first area we're talking about is foundation cracks. Foundation cracks are really easy to see. It's often an obvious crack in your basement wall. You'll likely see this in a corner, in the middle of the wall, under I-beams, or even in other areas as well. These cracks can leak over time as water builds up outside of your home, and the way we fix these is through epoxy injection. Check out the link to see the how we do it video here. In relation to foundation cracks, you also have your pipe penetrations, your tie rods, and your rock pockets. So a pipe penetration is something like a sewer pipe or a gas pipe or a water line going through the foundation wall. The plumbers drill them out, put the pipes in, and then just put hydraulic cement on either side of the hole, which wears down over time and allows water to get in. These are fixed in much the same way as the foundation cracks through epoxy or polyurethane injection. The rock pockets are formed from when the concrete foundation is first poured. Some areas don't get the entire liquid slurry in them, and it creates this little pocket, rock pocket that we call it, that can allow water to seep on through. We inject these much in the same way. Another common area of seepage is through your windows. Now when you get water coming through a window, it can be coming from a couple of different places. It could be coming through the window because you have a bad window and it's really poorly sealed, and even water falling down the wall can get through the seal and come on in. You could have water seeping through your window because the window well drain is either failing or non-existent. Pro tip, if you have an old clay pipe that just goes straight into the ground, there's a high chance that that pipe is failing because it leads to another clay pipe that runs along the foundation, which typically tends to break down over time. Most of those old clay pipes are from basements and homes that were built in the 70s and prior. So those clay pipes were not meant to stand the test of time and will collapse and clog up over time. So even though you can put a hose down that well drain and it doesn't fill up, when a storm comes in and it gets inundated with water, it can't keep up with all of that water, which allows the water to build up in the well like a fishbowl, and it'll then seep in through the window. And another way that you can get water in through your windows is from a poor or dysfunctional window well cover. And the window well covers are very important to keeping debris out from clogging your window well drains, as well as keeping directional rain from hitting the windows themselves. If you're able to keep the window well drained, the window and the cover and the well in good order, you won't have any seepage coming through those window wells. Sump pumps are next on our list. If obviously you have an old sump pump that can't keep up with the water, or your sump pump outright failed, we can replace and upgrade that sump pump to one that will be able to handle the water that is coming nowadays with these massive rains. We generally recommend that you replace your sump pump every 5 to 7 years. This is because sump pump performance degrades over time as the machine begins to wear. And you do not want to find out that your sump pump is right about to fail or unable to keep up with the water during a storm. So if you replace your sump pump every 5 to 7 years, you're generally safe knowing that you have a sump pump that can handle the water coming with these storms. A battery backup system is also important because it has a secondary sump pump as well as a battery backup that can keep both your pumps running during the event of a power outage or when we get these heavy storms and your primary pump can't keep up. Our label brand battery backup systems connect to an app that you can monitor anywhere in the world, and you can see the water level, the amp draw, how many gallons it has been pumping, as well as an archive of information to make sure that you know how healthy your system is and exactly when something needs to be done to prevent anything from happening. Let's talk about the big one, cove joint seepage. If you're getting seepage between where the wall and the floor meet, it is likely a drain tile issue. Because the wall and the floor were poured at separate times, they do not create a waterproof barrier at that joint. We call it a cove joint or the cove joint. As water builds up underneath the floor, it then finds its way through pressure to push through that joint and flood into the basement. If you're seeing it from the cove joint, you're likely also seeing some staining, discoloration, and water coming up through cracks in the floor themselves. You can also cut a little bit of drywall at the bottom of the wall to see if the bottom sill plate, the bottom 2x4, is discolored. If it's discolored and the insulation behind it is wet, you obviously have water behind there that needs to be addressed. Over the top seepage is the last one we're going to talk about. This is where water can come over the top of the foundation, usually between the joint of the top of the foundation wall and the bottom of your home. Now this can come in a couple of different ways. If you have siding, it's likely the water can just be coming right over, just kind of like a waterfall when the water builds up too high outside, usually due to too high of a grade. If you've got brick or cinder block or some sort of stone or CMU wall on top of that foundation, it's likely that that mortar joint is starting to deteriorate and allow water to come over the top. The other possibility is that above that you could have tuck pointing, flashing, or window seal issues that's allowing water in above the foundation to then drip down or through the middle of that brick or cinder block wall that then hits the top of the foundation wall and comes in. And also, if you have a cinder block wall itself as a foundation wall, it is very likely you're going to need a drain tile system, as the water coming through those mortar joints can't beat epoxy because it can just come through a mortar joint right next to it. So in that case, we put a drain tile system down with wall covering and flange to capture all of that water and keep your basement dry. We often get asked, well, what can I do to help lower and minimize my risk of getting seepage in my basement? The first thing you can do, and is the most important, is redirect your gutters away from the home. Make sure your gutters are obviously in working order without clogs or bows in the line, and there's no overflowing of the water. In an average American home, in 1 inch of rain, your roof produces about 1,000 gallons of water. And if that is not being redirected at least 15 feet away from your home, you are pouring all of that water next to your home, compounding the amount of water from the rain and allowing your basement to be more susceptible to seepage. The grading of your yard is also very important. If your yard slopes towards your home, all the water from the rains and your neighbors is going to gather around your home. This will build up that hydrostatic pressure and allow water to force its way into your home. The best thing to do, if you're able to, is to get that yard to slope down and away from your home, so any rain comes down naturally wants to dissipate away from the home and not build up around your foundation. We talked briefly about the sump pump. We need to make sure that your sump pumps are up to date and changed regularly to help prevent you from getting seepage. Now, you also will have seepage if there are these torrential rains and you get sewer and stormwater backup. A lot of systems, a lot of people's homes just can't take that much water. So if you don't have a proper drain tile system with a battery backup, it can end up leading to flooding. And when it comes to the winter, that discharge line can freeze. And if it does freeze, the water from the sump pump has nowhere to go. You could end up burning out your sump pump or just recirculating water nonstop so that the system can't clear itself out. A proper freeze guard on the discharge line will help prevent this. Now rest assured, when you have us out to your home, you have the best in the business coming by. We are one of the only family-owned local companies left in the area that is not owned by private equity or a part of a nationwide franchise. That means you are getting actual people, and the money that you spend is staying in this area and not ending up in some bigwig's pocket out on Wall Street. You'll also enjoy the added benefit of having happy employees out to your home. Our employees are the best paid in the industry. They are the happiest because they have the best benefits, and we respect them, and we act as a family in this organization. You will not find better employees coming out to your home who actually care about the organization they're in and want to make sure they're doing a good job for you. We have been around now for 15 years, establishing a firm track record as well as an untarnishable reputation that is consistent across all platforms, something that no other company in this area can say. We also have the best warranties in the business, with lifetime warranties on foundation cracks and drain tiles, and 5-year warranties on our sump pumps, and even workmanship warranties on anything else that doesn't carry an explicit warranty. We stand by our word. We're here for the long haul, and we want to make sure that your basement is good for the long haul. One of our experts will be out at your home soon, and we'll go through a very honest and fair evaluation of your home, and then we'll email you a quote later. There is no pressure to sign on site. There is no pushy sales guy. There is no asking you 7 times for a sale or having to call my sales manager before I leave your home. We really appreciate your time and trust to have us come out to help you evaluate the problem in your home. And again, we're always here for you. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to pick up that phone or respond to this email, and we'll get back to you just as soon as we can. Thanks as always, and remember, not everything's better when wet.